Good evening, guys. How are we doing? Welcome to a very sweaty and sort of very warm Swarez HQ this evening. The temperatures are rising, and we're going to have some great fun. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, today is quite a special day in my world because it is my birthday. What was that? Happy birthday, Ed. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. And we're at work. We are doing this for you because there's no better way of celebrating than hanging out with you guys for an hour or so. So thank you so much for joining us. I can't wait to get started. The mask is back on this evening because we're going to carry on now with the awesome enamel paints. As per usual, last week I didn't have a mask on. We are going to develop that, don't worry, there'll be plenty of opportunities to hear my voice properly. And we're going to be doing something tonight on the canvas behind me. I'll explain more about that in a short while. Okay, fantastic. Let's do the domestics first. We had a few problems with the audio feed last week. Thanks for your feedback. When we cycle through the cameras, we're going to do an audio test, so please do let us know if the audio is echoing. So hopefully Aidy's done a miracle and got rid of the echo. But when we cue things in like the music, my voice, when the extractor goes on, that kind of thing, if we've got some irregularities or things that aren't quite right, guys, please do let us know in the comments. And then Aidy's going to try his best on the fly to fix some of the levels and make sure they're right. But we've had to redo everything again this week just to try and fix the audio, okay? So thank you very much for your patience on that one. Okay, second thing I noticed on the chat that people have been asking Ian Holmes, who was the second competition winner, did he enjoy picking up his painting this week? Ian came yesterday. It was such a pleasure to see him. He spent lots of time with us here, both me and Aidy, chatting. We took some video of his entire visit. We're so busy at the moment, we haven't had the opportunity to pop that into like a minute's kind of a segment to be able to show you. So I'll get that done hopefully this week and get it edited. And we'll pop that into next week's live stream for you. How's that? Then you can see the highlights of Ian's visit. Honestly had such a blast, and Ian, I know you're watching, thank you so much because you're an absolute treasure, you really are. And he brought us some chocolate cake and we feasted on it yesterday, and I must admit we've been feasting on it today as well. I'm not proud of that, but it was absolutely delicious. And bless him, I want to also just give a quick shout out to Ian as a fellow crafts person. He does a lot with glass and with etching, and one of the things he did, I don't know if you can just see that there on the camera, he's made Aidy and I our own Swarez etched half-pint mugs, which are just a fantastic gift. So Ian, thank you so much. It was very kind of you to do those for us, so we just wanted to give you a little bit of shout out. Okay, so Ian Holmes, again, it's just such a privilege to meet such talented people, and you're all part of our family, so it's an absolute joy to be able to do this for you, like it is every week. So thank you from us both for joining us again this evening. Okay, on the subject of Ian Holmes, I need to give a small shout out because we're going to do some shout outs very shortly on the chat. We've got 2 new patrons today, so it's very, very pleasurable to welcome on board Ian Holmes, who's joined us as a patron, and also Funny Fox, so we'll give them a round of applause. So, they've joined us as a patron. They're going to get exclusive benefits and they get discount codes on the merchandise. They're going to get their fantastic Swarez calendars when they come out later in the year. Don't forget, we won't harp on about it, but remember to give us a subscribe, shout out to your friends because it helps the channel keep going, and also your patronage means the world to us. So that they join the likes of James Sims and Antonia, who I'm not sure we'll have a look if they're on tonight, but good evening guys if you are. So we're out to 4, which is fantastic. So thank you ever so much. We also, at 2 a.m. yesterday, 2 a.m. reached the 20,000 subscriber mark on YouTube. Yay, at long last, we did it. Oh. So we're going to do the giveaway again when we get to 50,000. So let's keep pushing, guys. See if we can get to 50,000 next. We've got lots of ideas for videos to come. YouTube's an odd place to be at the moment in terms of revenues and advertising whilst we've been through these unusual times. So, we've also been very, very busy and we're doing lots of other things, but we're hopefully going to get some more content out to you as the weeks go on. So thank you again for your support on YouTube. Right, There's a couple of other things to talk about, but before we do those and have a shout out, let's run the intro and we'll come back to you in 30 seconds. And we are back. Thank you so much for bearing with us. Now we're going to cue some music on. We haven't got the extractor on just yet, but that's okay. Oh, James Sims has just given us $5. James, very nice to see you.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks, James. Awesome, and thank you very much for that. Very much appreciated. Right, just before we talk, I'm going to really struggle tonight with slipping because I've got my very slippy shoes on for some reason. So we'll talk to you about what's going on the canvas in just a second because we're changing things just a little bit. Okay, let's do a shout out, see who we've got online. Let's do some welcomes and some hellos. Remember, if you're new here and I don't get around to giving you a shout out, we will do our very best. Okay, so let's have a look, shall we? So Nelson, let's go back up through, shall we? Nelson, shall we start from the top, shall everybody? Let's have a scroll up, shall we, and just see who we've got here. Okay, can we welcome then Devanda Studios? Funny Fox is here. Nalamea made it. Excellent. We've got Tanya, and let's go down the list. And lovely to see you. And we've also got Katie Herring is here. Hello, good evening. Marion Moore is here. Oh, now Tanya Woodford, someone who's had a granddaughter born at lunchtime today. Oh, fantastic. 7 pounds 2 ounces. Mum and baby doing great. Oh, well done. The Rita is here. Zen Taylor, good morning. How are you doing? And the Rita is here. Good evening. How are you? Cameron is here. And who else have we got? Wayne Tully Arts joined us along with Ingrid. She's here as well, and of course Ian Holmes, who we gave a mention out to. That's fantastic to see all of you guys here. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Right, who else have we got? Elizabeth Gay's just turned up. Good evening, Elizabeth. Did I mention your name? Yes, I did. No, that's good. Okay, let's have a look. Explode 1989. Thank you for joining us. James Sims almost missed today. Oh, but you didn't. Fantastic. Zach Llewellyn. Where's this video? Ha 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 ha. Yes, we'll get round to it, Zach, don't you worry. Okay, thanks for joining us, Zach. Cali Cara Shocker's here. And look, you could just, there's Andy whizzing into the banner he's put up for me. Bless him. Who else we got here? Scott Mitchell, thank you very much for your birthday wishes. Third Eye Open, T. Hayes Artwork, Amorous Arts. This is great. Lucy Blake has joined us. Thank you for your wishes. Okay, Jay Love is here. Thank you, Jay, for all the birthday wishes. That's very kind of you. Who else have we got? Colin Henshaw's here. Good evening to you. Shout out to everyone. Yes, you got it, my friend. And who else have we got? Let's have a quick list down. James McCormack is here. Nice to see you too, buddy. Sackett Arts. Brilliant. Yeah, roll on 50k, says Ian. This is great. Everybody getting in the chat. Thank you very much. Right, let's go to the bottom. And what have we got? So, did I say? Oh, Patricia's here. Hello, Patricia. And Adie's just going to whiz something in my... Oh, Funny Fox has given us a Fox sticker, a £4 sticker. Thank you very much, Funny Fox. I think I deserve a round of applause.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that, Funny Fox. Now, Francois LeMay is here from Montreal, Canada. This is great. Tuan Essence is here. Hope I haven't missed anybody out, but if I have, we'll come back to that very shortly. So thank you guys for all the birthday wishes. It's so nice. And do you know what? We're still on corner cam, are we, dude? I've got to be honest. If my mum's watching, she might be watching tonight. But hello. I'm so glad you could join me tonight. She said she might. I've got the link. But if you are, love you loads. Thank you for joining.
Hello, Mum.
That was Adi. Yeah, so Adi's giving you a hello as well, Mum. Right, okay. Okay, guys, right, shall we make a start? Let me tell you what I'm going to do this evening. It's very, very warm in here. Lots of lovely things going on. Let me just quickly talk you through it. I've got a fan on to try and keep me warm. I might have to move that up somewhere. So we're going to cycle through the cameras. We've already done corner cam. So pick me another one out, buddy, and we'll go and say hello on another cam. Which was, let's go overhead. Hello, overhead cam. How you doing? Now, there's two cameras up there. Effectively going to can we go to chest cam for a second, right? So chest cam, you can just see me on chest cam. Happy days. Now, can you just see the... In fact, there's a red light on there, which is mildly concerning. But there's a red light on there, and we're actually doing a time lapse as we speak. Now, you may remember, for those of you who joined us last week, that we did a time lapse last week. A few settings to kind of get used to. Shall we play that video for our friends, shall we, dude? Edie's just going to play this little video. We did this painting last week. Check this out. This is an hour and 16 minutes in 25 seconds. Have a look. So what you're seeing now is the time lapse from the overhead shot, which is what we're doing again tonight. So whatever we record tonight will pop out as well. And we're probably just going to amalgamate these into one gigantic video as the weeks go on. But it's really nice to record these sessions just purely as an overhead camera so you can see how they're done. So happy with the way it came out. We've got it in the back room. We're going to get it photographed in the next couple of days. But there you go. So that's what we're doing. So we're doing the time lapse for whatever we do tonight. Good evening, that's PTZ camera in the corner. And when we brought Ian in here, just going to have a look at it. When Ian was here yesterday, fascinated by all the camera systems and everything going on in here, so it really is an Aladdin's cave of tech in here. So you can see Edie just looking at the... In fact, let's go on it while he's here. There we go, I'm on my hands and knees, where I spend most of my painting days. So what I've done, I've cut a canvas, which is going to have a finished size of 225 by 130, if you want to know technically. It's nice and cool down here. And what we did earlier is coat this with some water-based enamel paints, and we used these last week on the video clip that you just saw, and I've just given it a base coat, and I've used the water-based ones because they dry very, very quickly. In fact, we did this an hour and a half ago and it's dry, so this is what we're going to paint onto this evening. So that's why it's pre-coated, and in actual fact from the cameras this is where you can see the marks on the outside. Because it's very easy. I'll show you. Look, I'm not going to touch the cameras, but it's very easy just to use yourself a small little roller and roller it out, because all we're looking for is just to get a base coat on. So that's a white water-based base coat ready for us to have a go at the main event. Now, just while I am mobile, let me introduce you to two other things. If we can whiz onto the chest cam feed for a second. So you'll see drying here on chest cam. So I've got, this again is done in the water-based enamel, so having more fun with these this week. This is still drying, a hideous amount of paint on there. So one of the things I wanted to do was we needed some time really to see what various additions made to the finishes. So this is one of those, and I have to say, very, very pleased with the way that this is looking at the moment. Tons of texture, deep, rich colours. So again, this is part of the learning curve with the new paints, just so you might like to know that. And there's a base coat, ready for something for another day. Okay, I think we're almost ready to start and get painting, aren't we? There we go, you can see us on all popular major social networks. Please do give us a like and give us a follow. Check out all the latest stuff going on, because seriously, I'm not sure we can even keep up with what's going on. So if you're really interested, that's what you need to do, guys. So thank you very much for that. Okay, right, so I'm going to get some gloves on. And we're going to head over here and do some more shout outs, and then we're going to get some paint open, and then I'm going to talk you through Pollock Week, which was a suggestion from one of our friends last week. Right. So Ken Holmes is here. Hello Ken, nice to see you. John Zapata watching from the 5 train in New York City. Hey, thanks John. So you're actually on a train, is that right, John? In New York? This is awesome. I'd love to know actually, where's the, well, maybe I shouldn't ask this, where's the most unusual place you've watched the live stream from? Maybe you should or shouldn't let us know in the comments, I don't know.
The toilet for me.
He's such a class act, isn't he? Right, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, Paul Amber is here. That's fine. How you doing? Right, I think we're ready to get going. I really do. Okay, right, so I've got my fan. I think I'm going to raise my fan up before I pass out. Just joking. Can I raise my fan up? Just about. Look at that. Marvellous. Okay. Right, I'm going to get some paint open. And the reason I'm going to pop the extractor on, guys, so if my audio cuts out, then please do forgive me. Bear with us while we get it reconnected, okay? Let me just get some paint out and talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, this is the frequency of the extractor seems to interfere with the microphone on that Ed's got, so we'll see what happens. We'll see.
Right, okay, so while he does that, my audio might suddenly just disappear. I'm not sure which camera we're on, but I think we're going to start. One, two, 1, 2. I'm back in the room. Fantastico. Right, we've got extractor on. Everything is sealed up. We've introduced, we've had some fun, we've talked about stuff. Enough of all the frivolities, Ed. Let's paint. Okay. Let me talk to you about what we're going to do this evening. So, for those of you who may not know, I'll give you a tiny little history lesson while I walk around. Never been a massive Jackson Pollock fan. I didn't get into art because I knew about him. In fact, I didn't read about him until, I don't know, probably about 5 or 6 years ago. But found his life and work very, very interesting. I don't really know a lot about a lot of artists. But one of the breakthroughs for us was recreating one of his most iconic and famous works called Blue Poles, which a client privately asked us to replicate. I'm not really believing that it could be done. We actually did it. It took a year to do. And, oh hang on, I gotta go to the door, Aidan, this is a put in the backpack. 2 seconds everyone, sorry. Talk amongst yourselves, and I'll carry on with the story. And as we do zipped up, which you can't see. La la la. So, I can actually see what's going on, this is fun. This is good. Oh, it's nice and cool out there. I want to be out there. Okay, is it okay? We're just going to do a quick check on the microphone, guys. And please bear with me, just make some adjustments.
Okay, we'll see how we go with that.
Okay, looking good. Thanks, buddy. Oh, he's got it. Okay, I'm back in the room. Right, yeah, so I recreated this one called Blue Poles by Jackson Pollock. Taught me so much about how the guy used to paint. And despite all the scholars talking about how they think they knew it was done, in actual fact, having actually done it and pulled it off, I know exactly how he did it. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to replicate some of those techniques, and we're going to do the old Pollocky drip style painting. So if we're ready, let's start banging it on. Now, Pollock used to use quite a lot of different tools. One of his favourites was turkey basters, but he also used to use sticks and spoons. But we've done a little bit from sticks, so I'm going to start with my favourite, which is spoons. Now this is quite loose, this paint, I haven't added anything to it, but we're going to start with a nice purple. Right, so let's have a go with that. Let's just see how we get on, and then we'll come back to the chat in just a sec. So I'm just going to check out in control, do everything okay? Comes apart, a great question. How do you keep your creative energy going? Well, it's a refusal to give up, I think, Don, to be honest with you. My head is so full of all different things. I'm always very, very anxious to try and get as many done as possible. Let me just come back to that in just a second, John. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to do a series of different techniques. It looks like random splats, isn't it? There's lots of things you can do when you're using a spoon and techniques. So, can we go to PGZ for a second? But I'll come back to your answer in a second, John. So, one of the things I'm going to do here, I've just done a couple of overheads. So I'm scooping the paint, and then I'm going to flip it over. So what we get an arc over the top of the spoon. And you can get low flicks, so then I'm going to reduce the height. If you come down a bit, and sorry about the microphone, guys. I'm just going to drop the decibels down a bit. Sorry, do bear with us while we sort this out. He's going to 1 2 1 2. Going to make some adjustments. Steve O'Sullivan has just given $2.99 sticker. Thank you very much, Steve. That's very kind of you. I'll give you a round of applause and a thank you. Cheers for that, Steve. I just saw that on the laptop.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So thank you for your patience with the audio. We're trying to get this sorted out for you. Okay, so here we go. So yeah, so one of them is a flick over, and you get an arc over the top of the spoon and then it lands, which gives you these. Then we get low flicks, which is you can go outwards or you can go inwards. So one is a reverse sweep, and then one is a forward sweep, depending, you know, a bit like backhands and forehands in tennis. And then of course you have decisions based on how much you load the spoon with, or any tool that you're actually using. So the level of different techniques and the decisions made for each one is entirely dependent on the effect that you're trying to achieve. So rather than being a splash and go kind of thing, which is relatively straightforward, this is what we had to learn when we were doing the replica. In actual fact, to replicate some of the things that Pollock did, it actually becomes quite a skilled, almost very kind of nuanced kind of based method. So for the early stages, yes, I want to get some big loops in rather than lines. So I'm going to flick over like that. Alright, that's how I build my loops up. It entirely depends on how much I've got on the spoon. Then I can get a slap, so I'm going to slap some on. So you can come to this over here, dude, if you don't mind. I'm just zoom in. I'm really making it work tonight. So I'm just going to do a splat down, so I can do the same amount of paint, but then look, and I then get a line. So I've changed from a loop to a line. Now, because the line is put down with pressure, I then get an expansion. So if I need to make the lines bigger and more defined, I then tend to use force downwards. It's quite heavy on the hands. So hopefully what we can do this evening, guys, is just to try and give you an insight more into some of the ways that Pollock's paint got formed, or how best we think it might have been formed. That's what we're trying to do. A little bit of educate and inspire and play, I think, is a big thing. So what I'm going to do now, you can see on the overhead, I'm going to do that splat down there, because I just want to build up a little bit of the paint up at the top here, and then I'm going to slightly change angles. Right, it's fine enough with the purple. Now, with the vast majority of Pollock's paintings, he would leave quite a bit of time between layers, certainly on some of the greater works. In fact, and he would leave, you know, some of them were 8-9 months in the making, some a year. But that's so he can get separation between the layers. Obviously, we don't have this tonight. Move the stool, buddy, yeah? There you go. So we're just going to have a little bit of fun with that. Right, so who's up for a bit of Swarez blue? Let's get the blue out. Yeah, should we do it, right? Should we get the Swarez blue out? Should we do it?
Do it! Just do it! Yesterday was tomorrow, so just do it! Make your dreams come true! Nothing is impossible! No, what are you waiting for? Do it! Just do it! Yes, you can!
Brilliant. Now, I'm going to go in with the same spoon that I use the purple with, yes. It does mix a little bit in the blue, but I just don't care. So. Alright, look at that. Right, so we're going to do a similar kind of thing again. So this is just to build up these layers. Now what I'm going to try and do is try and infill some of the white space. Now there's an awful lot of white space here, but you'll be surprised how quickly this fills up. So I'm going to start this end, and now I'm going to try and traverse with some larger loops. Instead of sort of doing this like in halves almost, I want to try and do these in single ones, so I'm really going to have to go quite crazy here. So yeah, try on the chest cam, buddy. Let's see how we get on. Right. Okay, he's going to overhead, yeah, because I'm too bendy on the chest cam.
Say what?
So my plan of doing this in long lines isn't working. Well, it's working okay, but I'm having to come back this way as well. Right, so that's okay. Now, what I'm going to try and do with this one, because I do have a plan, you've got to have a plan otherwise it goes wrong, is to build up the outside layers and then go really sort of like quite dense on the centre. Alright, so this is just a question of building up colours. We're going to do one more colour, and then we'll come and have a quick look on the chat. So I need to be quite careful now which colour I put on next. So bear with me a second. I don't want that one. Yes, I'm having that one. Brown in the can. Let's go. I like this. Right, so we're going to go in with a nice kind of light mushroom. Now I'm going to use a different tool, and we'll have a different technique with this. I'm going to use a brush, but not how you would expect me to use a brush. And my mum and John were very kind to give me some brushes today for birthday, so we're going to use some brand new brushes. Yay! So Miguel Swarez, namesake, says that the blue looks like cobalt blue. Yes, it does. It's a gorgeous blue with a very small metallic flake in it, actually, Miguel. Remember, if you're new here, do please ask questions. Hello, Chaos Strongly, glad to see you here. Right, so the brush, lots of very fine detailing, and you can, how do I explain the brush? Oh God, you can do so many things with the brush. So here we go on the overhead, so I'm going up and down with my movements here. I don't really want to go around too much. There we go, and I'm loading the brush really quite a lot here. Getting really into it. Let's work all 360 degrees here, let's not mess about. Get a few lines. I need the up and down movement to be going, but then I need the bits that sort of fall off, I need them around the edges, you know, the little tiny little bits around the edges, because I need to keep the volume of paint in the centre. So this is very much I'm trying. In an hour, something would take me a good 3 or 4 weeks to do. If a client was doing it, I'm trying to just sort of build up, roughly speaking, just give us a demo for some of the techniques. So, that's quite heavy. Right. Okay, 3 colours on, 25 to go. I'm only joking. What are we all chatting about then? I was John Bewley here. Hello, John. Good evening. How I like this painting is exactly what I create. Pollock was a genius. I do have to agree with you there, John. And what else have we got? Hard to understand with the mask, Miguel. I'm sorry, Miguel. We are trying our best this evening, and we're trying to look at mask alternatives, and you do have to concentrate, I know. So, I'm really sorry about that. If it helps, I can talk slower. We'll try and make it more concise in my voice. Please do tell me, and we'll try and make it as relatively easy for you to understand as possible. It is quite difficult getting breath in here when it gets warm, and when I'm talking as well. And the mask has to have a breathing. Sorry, I'll say it again. The mask has some valves in it, so I can breathe in through filters, which restricts it a little bit. But then, of course, the consequence is I have to let that air out, and I have to do it all without letting any of the toxic fumes in. So it is a little bit restricted, and of course, we're always trying to isolate where the audio is picked up from. So we can't get the microphone actually inside the mask, although we've tried. Doesn't sound very good because it breaks the seal, and of course then they let all the nasty stuff in. So it's a constant problem, but the mask is required, otherwise I'm going to be very ill very quickly. But it's all good, all manageable. Probably wasn't designed to do live streams in, but we are looking at alternatives. We've actually got Ian to thank for pointing us out to a couple of alternatives which we might be looking at. So, okay. So Carrie Shocker says about Sotheby's had an auction days ago, and on there was the painting from Pollock's wife. Yes, Lee Krasner was a very, very talented artist, and she has a number of paintings in the collection at Tate Modern, and both Adi and I have seen some of her works on a number of occasions, and they are sensational. I'm a big fan. So that's very interesting that some of that's been sold as well. So Zane can hear us in the mask, so that's kind of Zane. All your feedback is greatly received, guys, so thank you very much. Every time you make a comment or an observation, every time you donate, it really does help us to move forward from the position where we're at now. So everything is very gratefully received. So yes, John Bewley, I use gloss enamels, no mask, needs no smells or toxins. So I presume you're using a latex base on then, John? Do let us know. Be very interested to know that. Okay, right, so I'm going to crack a larger brush out now. Or am I going to do a smaller one? Let's have a look. Oh, he's back. My link to Aid is failing slightly, I don't know why. We'll just have a look at the microphone. It wouldn't be us if we weren't plagued, would we? What's going on there? Aid is turned on apparently. Right, mine's failing a little bit, so I might have to change batteries in a second. Let me just get some of the black on, guys, and then we'll I might have to change my battery. Sorry, dude, if I go silent because my battery's gone, I think. Right, here we go. Let's go. There's some massive black loops here. So again, I'm just doing a regular repeating pattern, going left to right. Okay. Just lots of paint, much bigger volume of paint going on now with the black. I'm not going to go too mad with it. Yes, I've officially lost him, right? So I'm going to go and. Oh, he's just coming and going. So yes, mate, I know you can hear me. I'm just going to change the battery over and see what happens. It's strange. It's only, oh no, so I take it out and it's fine. So what's going on? Thank you. It's not be a second, guys. He's good, isn't he? He's good. Right, let's just get this round the right way. Oh dear. What a little flare! Right, yes, I can hear you now, buddy. Yeah, it was very odd. It was just coming and going, but when I took it out of my pocket, everything was fine. Okay. Interesting. Oh yeah, overhead turns it from a different way. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, looking good on the overhead, yeah.
Hey,
okay, right.
That's pretty good.
Right, okay, so let's wrap this up a second now. So we're going to start in with the colour now, guys. So, okay, so what else have we got? What did John say? The paint Pollock used was different to the paint available to us now, yes. Pollock used to use mainly a DuPont brand called the Duco brand, which was an automotive paint. And in fact, I'll tell you something about the silvers that Pollock used to use. There were no dryers, chemical dryers, in any of the aluminium silver paints he used, which is why a lot of his paints never actually fully cured, because once the enamel paint started to skin over, the air wasn't able to get to it, and it's only the aging of the paint and the degradation of it that actually sets the paint. I don't know if you knew that or not. I was staggered when I found that out. Right, okay, moving on. So I think we're going to get a lot of colours on here this evening. Now, one thing we haven't done for a little while is some green. And I was talking with Adi about green as we were looking through some of our archived photos yesterday.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Right, okay, well, despite the oh God no, I'm actually going to go with it. Look at that, we're going to go with this bright lime green. And it's actually a pretty standard colour, 12E63. Do you really want to look that up online? So let's start and get some of this gorgeous lime green in. Absolutely loving this. Whew. Right, so on the overhead now, we're going to go for... So I've gone one way with the loops, so now I need to even fill some of this. So I'm just going to do some dainty little dances now. Now I'm going to do a drop from a fairly decent height, and I'm going to go up and down, fairly kind of lyrical, a bit like musical notes this, and I'm more concerned with building this central thing up, you see. So although I'm not trying to make it look like as if Pollock would do this, it's just investigating some of what made the man who he is and who he was, but it's just using a few of the techniques here and there. You know, everything's going to be adapted to suit, so it's not meant to be a replica. Right, so let me just check the laptop for a second. Hope Ed will see the questions. How many layers are you aiming for, and does it hurt your wrist? Thank you, Funny Fox. Yeah, no, it doesn't hurt the wrist, to be honest with you. I mean, they're only short flicks, and I'm not. It's this wrist that hurts because I'm carrying everything to paint. Sometimes when I'm doing this, you know, for a client, it's for quite a period of time. You know, 5-6 minutes at a time where I'm placing something, and I don't tend to think about it while I'm concentrating. It's only after to put it down. This one, no issues with at all, actually, ironically. When we painted the Blue Poles replica, there were 168 layers on it, which is why it took us a year to paint it, because each application has to go off and dry before the next one can be weaved in, if that makes any sense. So, Stanley Kubrick says, yeah, can I get a Pollock price for this painting? Well, no, I doubt it. I'll have to be good first and an alcoholic. Yeah, he used a combination of paints, like I've alluded to already. One of his main paint supply brands was a DuPont one. It was an automotive one. What I'm not too sure on is the exact chemical makeup on it. Believe it or not, we did contact DuPont several years ago and asked them to divulge some of the recipes for his paints. And they did help us to a certain point. We kind of had to make the rest of it for himself. But yeah, he would use a lot of lead-based household paints, because of course it was pretty much all lead-based then. Okay, right, we have much safer paints these days for general use. So Christoph is asking, does he do the mixing of the paints himself? Do you mean Pollock or me? Me? No, I don't do the mixing, no. I buy them in tins already done. I can pretty much get any colour now, to be honest with you. Pantone colours, anything with a RAL number or a BS number. You know, what you can do with pigment and shading and these clever machines these days is pretty spectacular. So that's what I tend to do. Right, I'm just going to do a little kind of cone thing now. Look, so this is just tiny little dips of paint. See that? Look, I'm going really, really quickly. Little dips in, and what I get here is very fine lines. So when I finally go around the edges with things like orange, yeah, then I'm just going to do these tiny drips, and this is just going to give me a little bit of a feature around the corners. Pollock didn't do a lot of this, to be honest with you. Some of the very great works, things like Autumn Rhythm number 30 and Summertime number 9A, which is on permanent display down at the Tate Modern. They're very bold, very big kind of gestures, and they work on a giant canvas. And of course, here, I'm just trying to have a little bit of fun and get some colour on, you know. But to fully immerse in these techniques, you need an awful lot of time and an awful lot of patience, and it's really only when you completely get sort of into it that you realise that. Now, Zane Taylor said about Pollock using resin-based enamels called alkyds. Yeah, absolutely right. He shifted his paint formulas over the years in quite a number of different ways. So because of the information we had about Blue Poles, he knew that was, at that point he was using quite a few different ones on his, in his genre, including actually on that particular painting. There was cigarette ends, broken glass, and quite famously he was pictured using turkey basters. There were footprints all over it. I mean, it was a real mishmash, but arguably one of his greatest works, or certainly in my opinion anyway. Okay, is everybody up for a little bit of teal green? So we're going to go with a lighter bluey green here, because I want to add a little bit of, well, I don't know what you call it, but let's get some in the middle anyway. So now we're starting to build up some of the layers in the middle now, which is great. And so I'm just going to infill in between the black and the blue, and I'm going to go quite low down now, and deliberately now, because I'm just trying to build colour up in the centre. So as well as now trying to get down, as well as now trying to think about what do I want to do with colour and my separation and how much colour I need to get where I need it, I'm also having to think about what's the best technique to allow me to get that onto the canvas, as well as having something reasonably intelligent to talk to you about. So there's a million different things now going on in my head. I'm trying not to get lost in the painting, otherwise I'm going to be silent forever. So, Shannon Collins, you made it. Well done, Shannon. Thank you for joining us this evening. So nice to see you. Very nice to see you. Okay, so we'll keep that on overhead just for a second, because I want to try and locate. I want to locate the orange. I've got to be very careful now with orange and yellows, because I don't really want this to take over the painting. I'm probably going to drop a little bit of gold on, but I don't really want the metallics to take this over too much. So if I could just locate the orange, which, yes. Yes, Patricia, that's a very good comment about Pollock probably being high as a kite. I'm sure he was, although he probably didn't realise that because he was too stoned at the time, probably. And drunk, yes. Right, that's nice in front of the fan. Ed, it's astonishing what you do in an hour. Thank you very much indeed, Katie. That's very kind of you. And what else have we got? Okay, welcome. While this looks Pollock now, given no drying between layers, it will be more Swarez when dry, paint movement and bleeding. Absolutely right, Zane, yes. I mean, as I've alluded, which camera am I as we've alluded to, and exactly as Zane says, I can't wait between layers because we're just doing this for a bit of fun. So consequently, the more paint that goes on, the more it all melts together and the more organic and fluid and the more Swarez it becomes. So thank you for that, Zane, that's really kind of you. Yeah, we're just having fun with the techniques. This is not about the end result, so it's just worth bearing that in mind.
Yeah, so if we were to do as Jackson Pollock did, then Ed would probably be sat on a very small stool in the corner somewhere drinking whiskey or beers, smoking probably a few packs of cigarettes in between, disappearing off to the house for something to eat, come back the next day, maybe look at it, ponder, throw a bit more, stuff a cigarette out on it, stand on it, walk away, have an argument with himself in the corner, scratch his head, leave again, and it would take about 6 to 7 months, and that live stream going on for 6 to 7 months might be a little bit long.
There you go, so that just says it all, doesn't it, really? But great observation, Zane, yeah, so thank you for that. Okay, so I'm going to have a look now. You're seeing it on the overhead from a different direction, so, I've got, I'm probably now where AD sees this at the top of the screen, about the top of the screen, I think? Top of the screen, yes, which is my baseline, actually. So, what I'm going to do, he might try and flip it, actually, because he's clever. I'm going to stand in one place, and he's going to try and flip it. Anthony Payne has joined us. Go into properties, mate, and it says flip horizontal further down there where it says about the audio, I think. I've just talked to AD about how to flip it. Somewhere like that. AD is a font of knowledge, isn't he? AD is the man! Dude, you're getting a lot of love from everybody, which is fantastic. Yeah. He knows me so well with this, yeah. Oh dear. So I'm just going to get some orange on in some small quantities here. I'm just going to see if we can swap. There we go, it's nice. Swap the orientation. He's going to flip vertically. He's done it! Yay! So here we go on with the orange now. Look, orange is going to be quite dominant. He's done it! Well done. Give yourself a round of applause, mate. Well done. Right, so I'm going right over now. I want to get orange everywhere. Just there we go. Look, because some of this is going to get covered up. Beautiful. Let's go around this end. So just as we change the orientation, I tend to walk around it. Typical head. Oh look, I've got a great idea. Oh look, somebody else. I've just become left-handed apparently because of the screen change. Excellent. Right, let's brighten this bad boy up a little bit. Right, so now I'm going to put my right hand under the overhead camera. No, it's not. It's my right hand. This is so weird.
Everybody concur with me. That was his left hand, wasn't it? It's because when I flipped it, it's just basically with a mirror. As it's reversed, it's mirrored it.
Yes. Shannon's been awake since 2 a.m. Goodness me. Ingrid says it looks stunning as a vertical piece as well. I hope so, Ingrid. Yeah, that's the thing. Yes, hi Antonia. Very nice to see you here this evening. Yes, you're right, Funny Fox. Orange is my favourite colour. Absolutely love that. In fact, I know you can see this on the overhead, but here, this is really developing now. This is looking stunning. This on chest cam. There we go. Chest cam's made an appearance. I don't know if you can see, as I kind of move around the way the light's hitting it. The difference between the matte base coat and the gloss top coat is just stunning. So even beyond the fact we're having a little bit of fun with some random pollocking techniques and stuff this evening, the other thing is, if we're doing something that actually, has some merit and stands on its own legs, I'll be even happier. Okay, so Amy's going to have a zoom on the corner cam, which is fantastic. I need to get this lid back on here. My fingers are sticking to everything. You missus. And, no, I still can't get the lid on. Why won't the lid go on the paint? For goodness sake, it's not hard, is it? Right, thank you. Now I have a lid on the paint. Goodness me. Okay, right, so, tempted to pop a little drop of gold on. Now, do you think I should ask everybody, buddy, if we should do a little bit of... I haven't got a lot of gold left, but we could have a little soup son of gold. What do we... Oh my lord, yes, we have got some silver, yes, but the silver's very loose, mate, and it's going to go everywhere, so I think I need to stick to something a bit long, a bit more substantial. Right, okay, what tool haven't we used? Well, let's see if we can find something crazy to use as a tool, okay? I could use my hands. What can I use? Let's have a look. Shall I? Oh, I know. Let's use a piece of timber. I wonder if Jackson Pollock ever used a piece of 2x2 timber. Right, I'm not kidding. Yeah, look on the overhead. Madness. Anyway, I don't have a turkey baster, so we're going to go with this instead. There we go. Let's see how much of this I can mix up, and let's see what happens. I'm going to show you can paint with a piece of 2x2 timber. So let's see how we get on with this, guys, shall we? We're going in with the gold. Here we go. Are you ready? Nice. Got any paintbrushes? Yeah, nice. And feels very different. Never done this before. Feels very different. This does to using a spoon. But, oh, that's nice actually. I can get some. Yeah, that's quite interesting. I think I'll do that again. Yeah, I'm concentrating into the centre. This is where I want the mass to be. So my second wave of gold now is just going to be kind of centred. That's really nice. Oh, the light, that looks sensational. Nice. Okay. Good choice, Ed. Good choice. Well, now I'm stuck to it. Right, that's enough gold. Just going to check chest cam. Chest cam is good. So look at my hands. Look at that. And people wonder why I wear gloves. There you go. So take a screenshot of that, mate. That's the shot right there, isn't it? There you go. I wish my hands were gold, like having the Midas touch. Actually, no, the story of Midas isn't a good one, is it? Okay, fantastic. So we're getting towards the point now where I'm tempted to. Here's what I'm thinking about red now. Now, red's, I don't want to go completely overboard with this in terms of its colour. I know I've got about 7 or 8 on there at the moment. But I think once things like yellows and that kind of end of the spectrum is going to spoil it. So I'm going to stop with that. The sun and the heat is going to come from the orange. So now I'm just thinking, how do I now layer something really quite, lovely and sexy through the centre? So this is where I might just pop some small slithers of white in. Now what the white's going to do is just to break up some of these quite intense areas, which is what I really want to do. And I've got to be so careful now, not... Oh, Peter's head's gone, has it? That camera's gone. Let him do a reboot on. You can only see a picture of my bottom. I'm so sorry about that, everybody. Bear with us, bear with us, bear with. Yay, are we back? You can see me moving, yeah? Well done, AD. Jeez, he's doing a cracking job, eh? What a guy. Right then, so I need to reach for my white. Well, let's see what we can do. So this, what it would do, it would just help me define some of these areas. Now when it dries, the white going onto white is basically going to split some of these areas down into almost their own little segments. So now I'm kind of thinking, I'm still going to keep with these techniques, but I'm now thinking more to what do I want the actual painting to look like, because, guys, everything costs money. And much as we love doing this, I've still got to think about, is there something here that's going to stand on its own merit as a work of art? And now I'm kind of, as it's developing, as Zane rightly pointed out, I'm now thinking, okay, what do I do to this to turn it into something? Okay, so I'm kind of crossing that bridge now of what do I need to do and all that. So let me have a think.
Miss Moneybags, Bond, James Bond.
See, where else do you get a James Bond impression, eh? Apart from obviously watching 007. There you go, that was Adi doing his Sean Connery. Marvellous. Right, so back on the overhead now, just some small groups of white in the centre. Beautiful. That's just giving enough now just to sort of, I don't know, split some of that up a little bit. I didn't want to get in too dark, and I didn't want the black being the thing that just takes your eye off everything. Now, getting quite busy that this is the important part now where we've got to really decide, is this enough? What does it need? Tricky one. You know, it's the question we all ask ourselves, when do you actually stop? Let's have a quick look on the chat, see what you guys think. Okay, and if they have auctioned my shoes. Shoes are pretty good. I've got 3 pairs of shoes, and they're all absolute works of art. I love them. They've been through some stuff in my time. Yes, Ian, I did threaten the camera to come back on. Says AD. Okay, Katie Herring says, enough looks fabulous. Thank you very much. Jay Favours, good evening, says teal. Yeah, it's a tiny bit thin by my feet. Yeah, that's a really good thing there. But Shannon, I also have to consider the fact that if this does get stretched around the frame, then I'm going to lose 10 centimetres all the way around. So I'm trying to contain stuff in the centre and not wander off too far down the street. Right, how about secret sauce? Nice, yeah, Thomas, but no, it's just going to go everywhere. So I'd like to try and keep some of the up and the down, and there's going to be some paint flowing in here. I can already see it happening. You know, Zane rightly pointed out, but I still want to try and keep some of the movements going on. So I don't think it's special sauce night tonight, unfortunately. Funny Fox says the white's popping. Indeed, it is. Zane agrees. He likes the white background, which is great. So Angela Smith wants more orange and yellow. Not quite sure. No, and Zane's on about yellow, but I think the yellow might kill it. This is the problem, you see, if I'm trying to theme something, then it just becomes another kind of rainbowy kind of thing, and actually I'd like to try and keep some of the colours standing on their own merit. It's such a difficult thing really, you would need just to having to wait 24 hours and do it all over again, but there's a lot there, and I'm just going to have this proper walk around now, guys. So Adie's going to set this on the overhead now so I can see it and see what's going on. Because I really want to look at this from both sort of sides now. If anything, yeah, right, there we go. I'm just going to have a look on the laptop, guys. Just bear with me a second. Yeah, Shannon saying it looks good right now. I quite like it as well. I know Kelly Karashaka with pink. Yeah, there we go on the overhead. Yeah, I wish you could see what I'm seeing. It's really tricky. Yeah, thank you, Kate. Yeah, okay. It is tricky because, of course, it's still developing as well. Now, what happens is the more paint that I put on it, the more it's going to react to what's already on there. So these are the crucial minutes where I decide yes or no. And it is difficult. And you can see how much of the white has dissipated now. So the white's kind of delineated itself and started to flow. So the risk is now, as I put more paint in, that's going to do exactly that. So I'm going to crouch down now so you can have a little look on the chest cam. I'll try and keep reasonably still so it doesn't make you sick. You see down here, look, what's happening to, so we're starting to get the rivers and the flows, which of course, this has been really doing Pollock week. Pollock would not have got this tool because obviously we've covered off that the way that he painted. So realistically now, though some of the techniques have still stayed together, and on its own, it's looking great actually for me. It looks fantastic. I fear that now any more paint on that is going to take it further away from what we were trying to achieve and push it somewhere where possibly it's then going to struggle a little bit. So I'm very tempted just to leave that for, well, certainly for a little while longer. Because there's some, well, I don't know if you can see that actually on the, can you see on the chest cam there, buddy, where it's, can you see the gold rivers starting to appear? I don't know if you can just see that in the light. Sensational there. So I think the risk here, guys, is if I start overlaying this with even more paint, I'm going to stand a chance of losing that. And my only consideration would be some thin layers, some thin lines of black. But I'm not sure at this point if I'm going to lose that if I start to put them on there. So it's such a difficult call. It may be that I have to leave this to another day. Tricky. Okay, right. Yes, just I'm going to have a think about that for a second. Let me just quickly talk to you about, if you don't know already, so we did this one called Blue Poles, which was a replica of one of his most famous grip works, and that was a year in the making. So to try and do something in just under an hour, or about 40 minutes, is an impossibility. Realistically, I'd just be putting the early sort of 2 or 3 applications on, probably maybe even 1 or 2, and then perhaps just stopping there. So I think now we're at a point now where it is going to start moving, it is going to be developing. No matter what goes on, it's going to affect it. And actually, if you can sit and see this right now, it looks really good. Here's the one thing I'm really tempted to do, and that's move it 360 degrees, so 180 degrees, and turn it the other way. The reason is because we have a natural dip in the floor, unfortunately, and everything starts to go that way. And I can just see it starting to move. So I probably won't do it on air because it's rather unglamorous. And if it goes wrong, you'll be like, no! But I do need to probably turn that 180 just to even out some of the flowing. So I think I'm not going to put any more on at this second because I don't want to make that even worse, if you like that, if you see what I mean. So, you know, these product works have to be very considered. They have to be treated with a great deal of respect. It's why I don't do them very often. But if somebody really wants one doing, I'll do it, but they are a headache, they're complicated, and they're a nightmare. So I think while we're on overhead, while I design, I'm going to see if I can move this. Let me just test it. Now it shouldn't be too bad, so I'm going to have a little go and see where we're at. Yeah, see, that's okay. I should have enough opportunity to move this without knocking everything into oblivion. Then we'll kind of have a look at some of the comments. Because I just, you know, it's so nice now, it's so good, honestly. I wish you could all see this, how I can see it. But I don't really want to mess this up by it all flowing off one edge of the canvas. So by manoeuvring it back, that's exactly what we're going to do with the paint flows. We're going to get them to move back into the direction from whence they came, which should look pretty cool. Oh yeah, it's definitely the right time to stop. Definitely the right time to stop. Now I can see things moving and developing in the centre now, but I'll tell you one of the standout, there are lots of standout things here, but one of the standout things for me here, at the moment while we're trying to manoeuvre it round, is just the colour combination. It really is. So by not doing some of the things that we would normally do, I've actually created quite a palette. And I love the fact that so much of it is pulled towards the centre. So I've actually got this negative space around the outside, which I really like as well. Now, Pollock wasn't always a respecter of negative space, and it's what made a lot of his work very exciting. But I didn't want to go total coverage tonight. You know, we do that quite a lot. What I wanted to do was actually respect some of the boundaries and let some of the techniques speak for themselves, you know, and still exist on the corners. So, okay, what that's going to do now, guys, it's going to level things out a little bit. Anything that started to form and pull itself towards that direction, it's going to slowly start to come back now, so it should even itself out and make for a really nice overall kind of composition. Yeah, actually, I've got to be honest, this is looking really nice. Gosh, there's so much detail in it, it's incredible. Really, really happy with that. Whether I do anything else when it's dry, well, who knows. Watch this space, I'm sure we'll have an update for you next week. It's so tempting just to do something with the black, but I have to be strong. Okay, what's everybody saying? So, okay, we'll come look at that. Don't forget, if you are new here, do give us a subscribe. Okay, we just cracked the 20,000 subscribers on YouTube. Way fantastic! We're going to skyrocket off towards 50,000 now, so please do give us a subscribe. Remember, if you want to get all your exclusive benefits, plus your Swarez limited edition calendar, plus your own live stream. Yes, guys, you're going to get your own live stream, and it's coming up very soon. Plus a load of other stuff. Go check us out on Patreon/Swarez Art. Okay, thank you very much, guys. That's great. And Mark Lehman's here. Mark and I have been having a chat this afternoon. Mark, I think, needs a round of applause, dude, because Mark's brought two originals today. Welcome, Mark. Thank you, Mark, for joining us this evening. It's very nice to see you. Pinkie Pie, give it up. Hello, Pinkie Pie. I haven't seen you yet this evening. Nice of you to join us. And Anthony has given us some love. That's great. Stanley says, have a good birthday. Thank you so much, guys. This is really good. Have a happy day. It says Katie. Sherry in 1663. How nice of you to join us. Lots of thumbs up. And Nana Maya. Oh, what's that? Okay, I was talking to somebody else. James has given us some claps. Amazart, thank you. Nelson, tanks. You drive tanks? I'm joking, I know you meant to say thanks. Oh, this is very good. So guys, thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed our little dive into Pollock this evening. It's not meant as anything too heavy, but it's just doing something different. You've no doubt seen the previous streams and some of the kind of crazy and alternative things we do. It's the first time we've done this on camera. I'm sure we'll have a go later in the year and do something else. And I hope you've enjoyed it. Some of the explanations anyway, trying to communicate those over. And please do go check out some of his work online, especially Blue Poles, and then go and check out our version of Blue Poles, which is on the website under Art Projects. Okay, you can't miss it. Okay, so guys, let's just have a final look over the comments. Thanks again, Ed and Adi. Yes, Adi's been an absolute genius again this evening. Thank you, mate. And Funny Fuck says, thank you for another good live stream. Thank you very much indeed, John Bewley. Thanks for the live. You're a rock star. I don't know about that, John. I really don't know about that. Adi's a rock star, not really. Elizabeth Gunn's going to be here next week. Cameron asks, what kind of canvas do you use? I can tell you it's a medium weight cotton and duck canvas. Well, actually, no, it's quite heavyweight. It's about 420 GSM. And it carries a special primer to take the enamel paint, so I hope that kind of makes sense. It's a special item though, so you can't buy it retail. Mark Norman, weep, thanks. Cheers, Mark, thank you very much. We'll get your art wrapped up for you and we'll get it off to you as soon as we can. Okay, Zen says, gotta go. Thank you very much. Everybody's really been very kind. Thank you very much. Ian says it was an epic live stream. Guys, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. To be able to be with you again on my birthday evening. Thank you so much. Andy, would you like to say anything before you go?
I'd just like to thank everybody again for turning up and on his birthday. See, birthday boy. Special sauce wasn't going to go on that one, but we are going to do a couple of special sauce ones on everybody. We're going to sort those ones out at some point, but just. If you enjoy what we do, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up. If you are new, subscribe. We are trying to put a lot of content on there, and we've had fantastic feedback from everybody that we are trying to help. We're trying to change the art world for the better. So we will try to keep doing that as we go along. Thanks again, guys, for your support.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So, ladies, gentlemen, young, old, and everybody, just thank you very, very much for watching us this evening. Thank you to John and to Funny Fox, and to Antonia and to Ian and everybody else who's joined us. There's so many of you. And I hope we've managed to give you a shout out this evening. If you've been new, I hope you've enjoyed our little foray into Pollock. We're back here, doing the same again next week. Please run and tell all your friends. Look out for all the links on social media. It's going to be a crazy week, but that's what life is like at Swarez HQ. And for a very warm evening here, we're going to bow out and we're going to go finish off some stuff. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gents. It's been a pleasure. And from Swarez HQ, we're going to sign off, and we'll see you next time.